Hey guys, this is Pastor Randy Simmons, and I apologize we didn't get our Sunday service done. Um, it was an oops on my behalf. Somehow I clicked where it had the microphone and turned the microphones off. So I had the video made, but there's no audio. And I went ahead and I posted the video, not realizing there was no audio to it. I posted the video on YouTube, so I'm going to leave it there. Again, I apologize. Stuff happens. And being somebody who is not extremely tech savvy, I didn't get it done. I apologize, but we're going to go ahead and do today's back in the day. And I'm not going to try to rehash over the stuff I did on our first broadcast. But I do want to introduce you to some of the bands that came out during that time. One was called Mind Garage, and another one was called, let me get to where I have this in my notes. Where is it? Mind Garage, and then Mind Garage was around for quite a while, actually, guys. They took a short break in 69 or in 70. They stopped recording, and then it just kind of took a hiatus, and then they reunited in 2007, and they went on to record. I'm going to play a little bit of their music on the video that we do. Then there's a group called Sons of Thunder, and I think I can find a recording of them. And Sons of Thunder really, there's not a lot of information, but the group was formed in 67, and it was formed by with a youth pastor by the name of Russ Cadell, or however you pronounce his name. And they were around for a little bit. They went through Zondervan Recordings, and actually their only recording is actually very rare. There's another group called the Crusaders, and they were a garage rock band in 66. And then there was a group called The Exceptions. I'm doing this as a short book that I hope you guys will look into. And here's something really amazing about the group called The Exceptions, is they had a lead singer, and I don't know how many of you people know who this is, but by the name of Peter Cetera. Peter Cetera would go on to join and help form the band Chicago. There's a mind blower for you. Then there's a group that there's a lot of information, a group called Agape. And Agape, I think I actually had heard of them. I actually heard them in my younger life. And but they got together. They were formed by a guy by the name of Fred Caban, Caban, and they got together and they formed in 68. They traveled, did a lot of traveling. They were one of the original traveling music missionaries. That's what they called themselves. And they traveled around. They did a lot of recordings. They did a lot of concerts. And they really, they functioned as one of the first musical missionary Jesus people bands. And so they had a powerful impact on the music industry. But what I want to do is I want to get to someone that I was blessed to see him near the early time of his career. And he is known in Christian music circles as the godfather of Christian music. I would call him kind of the Christian Bob Dylan. And this is a gentleman by the name of Larry Norman. Larry Norman was really instrumental in bringing Christian music into the forefront. He rubbed shoulders with some of the biggest names in music, not just Christian music, but secular music. He rubbed shoulders with some major influencers. And he started his music life in 1965. He's in some of his interviews, he says he flunked out of college and lost his scholarship, and but he formed a band originally, a band called Backcountry Seven. Norman opened a concert for a group called People, and People was a major influencer in music, the music industry. Performed 200 concerts, appearing with Van Morrison. People did, not Larry Norman. People did. They appeared with Van Morrison, the Dave Clark Five, Paul Revere and the Raiders, the Doors, the Who, Janis Joplin. Big names, guys. But Norman left People, and just as Capitol released the band's first album, but he reunited with Mason from the band People for concerts in 74 and 2006. According to rock historian Pete Townsend once said that the Who's 1969 album Tommy was inspired by the rock opera Epic by People. So these are some of the people that Larry Norman got to rub shoulders with. But in 68, following a job offer to write musicals for Capitol Records, Norman moved to Los Angeles. And he says, in the interview, he says, I walked up and down Hollywood Boulevard several times a day, witnessing to businessmen and hippies and to whomever the Spirit led me. Now, how is that for amazing at that early time in his life? He wrote several songs for the rock musicals Allison and Birthday for Shakespeare, both of which were performed in Los Angeles. But what I want to get to is my own personal story. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, maybe a little younger, my family went on our yearly summer vacation, which usually ended up, when I was that age, usually ended up being somewhere in California. Well, the funny part is that my dad has had a tendency of, when we were traveling on our trips for for different vacations, my dad would be driving along a road and see some side street, and he'd go, I wonder where this goes. And off he would go. And he went, and it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We had a trailer that we were pulling, a camper trailer. And it was me, my brother, who's just 4 years old, and me and my mom and dad. Well, sure enough, we ended up going down this side road, didn't know where we were at, didn't know where we were going, and ended up in a actual empty riverbed. Well, my dad pulled the car and trailer over and got to some level ground and set the trailer up, and we slept, and me and my brother slept in the car. And the next morning, I woke up to the sound of screaming guitars, the psychedelic music playing, and I looked out the window of the car, and here was a hippie bus with flowers all over it and speakers that were about 5-6 feet tall. At least it looked that way to me. And these flower people were over there just jamming like crazy. Well, my mom and dad decided we were going to go into town and get some stuff for fixing breakfast. We went into town. As we pulled into town, I look over and I remember vividly, I remember seeing this flatbed trailer and big speakers on it. And this preacher got up and he introduced this guy that came up and started playing his guitar, acoustic guitar. And there he was. I didn't realize who it was until much later in my life. But there he was, this about 6 foot tall guy, thin as a rail, with long bleach blonde hair, wearing black, up there playing guitar. And I later found out that that was Larry Norman. And it was early in his career. 69 was when he released his first album. His first album is called Upon This Rock. And Upon This Rock was the first full-blown Christian rock album. And however, his music gained a large following in the emerging counterculture movements. So, as I said, Larry was what I would consider is kind of the Christian Bob Dylan, because that's the way his music was. Larry was not an overly attractive man. He was not overly flamboyant. He was kind of plain. And his music, he didn't have the most musical voice, at least from my opinion. Very much, like I said, like Bob Dylan. You know, I jokingly like Bob Dylan sings like this, you know. But that was Larry. That was the way he was. I later had the honor, and I say honor, to see him live in concert, and it was amazing. I mean, his music, he didn't have a full band. It's just him and his guitar, and he also had a grand piano up on the stage. And his music was just iconic. It really was iconic. But later on in his life, in my life, long after I got married, long after I got married to my first wife, and we had kids, and I was living in Missouri, and I was playing occasionally. I would play at this coffee house that was right down on in the bad area of Springfield, Missouri, and it was located. The coffee house was located in a abandoned old saloon that they'd converted. Man, it was a mess, that place, man. The stage was off balance, and there was a soft spot in the stage. If you took the wrong step, you would go through the floor. But I had the opportunity to be up there and play, and I got told that night when I was playing, I wasn't announced as a player. I was just an opening act, and I played just only a handful of songs. But I found out that later on that night, Larry Norman was going to come and play at the coffee house, and it was amazing. But Larry, he released multiple albums. A lot of the stuff, the albums contained a lot of the same songs, but they were just kind of different recordings. It was what they would call now, it would be a re-release or a rewrite in a sense. Larry founded Solid Rock Records, was one of the major producers in its time. He introduced the world to groups of people like Larry Norman, or like Randy Stonehill, Mark Hurd, Tom Howard, Malcolm and Alwyn, Bobby Emus, the Crosstones, the Lyrics, James Sinquist, and David Edwards. He went on, he founded Street Level Artist Agency, which was one of the original first Christian artist booking agencies. He had a best-selling album for his career in '76, put out by Solid Rock. Number recorded blues rock concept album, Something New Under the Sun, but it would not be released until 1981. So Larry went on, and he recorded multiple albums, recorded for a long time, and he was very pivotal in the establishment of Christian rock. I would just say Christian contemporary music, because it wasn't. His style was more folk than rock. He had a little bit of a blues feel to his style, but it was more folk, really, in my opinion. Moving forward, 1980, Norman moved to England. He founded Fido Records with his father, selling rarities from Norman's own archives. He signed a distribution deal with British label Chappell Lane, and released several albums before returning to the United States. There were some dark things about Larry. The story is that Larry was good friends with Randy Stonehill, and they came out of the same world. Both of them came from a world of drugs and partying. And the story is, and I'm only saying this as a story, it was a story, that Larry had an affair with Randy's first wife, and that broke them up. They were no longer friends together. I would like to say that that's just a story, but from what I've heard, it's legit. Larry had some different perspectives on music and the church. Throughout his career, Norman had a contentious relationship with the wider Christian church and with the Christian music industry. He wrote in 2007, "I love God and I follow Jesus, but I just don't have much affinity for the organized folderol of the churches in the Western world." Norman's music addressed a wide range of social issues such as politics, free love, the occult, the passive commercialism of wartime journalists, and religious hypocrisy. My primary emphasis, he says, is not to entertain, but if your art is boring, people reject your message as well as your art. Good point. In 2008, Christian rock historian John Thompson wrote, "It is certainly no overstatement to say that Larry Norman is to Christian music what John Lennon is to rock and roll, or Bob Dylan is to folk music." As I said, Larry Norman actually, he influenced, of all things, punk and alternative rock. That just blows my mind, guys. It says that he actually influenced the band U2. Bono met with the Summit of Nashville Christian music artists in 2002 to garner support for an African aid campaign. He specifically asked to see Larry Norman. Upon Larry Norman's death, Bono sent flowers to his funeral with the note, "Eternal singer, still eternal, Bono." So this is who Larry Norman was, and I hope you guys will consider looking on YouTube and see if you can find some of his music. There's a song he did called Reader's Digest, and I'm going to play that for you guys on this video. And he wrote that one. He wrote "I Wish We'd All Been Ready," which has been recorded by multiple people. He wrote also "Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music?" And these are some of the major songs that he is known for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, we're only hitting just the very surface of things. There's a lot of other stuff, information about Larry, and you can find that online. You can find his history and the people he was influential and how he touched people's lives. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I love you guys. As I'm always saying, keep up the fight.
And you have to help me sing this last song. I think you know it just as well as I do. It's a Cliff Richard song that I wrote. Are you ready to rock out? I mean, this is a wonderful night for all of us, and I'm really glad we could be here. And happy 25th, and have a nice 26th next year. Are you ready? What key do you want this to be in? What key do you want this to be in? Can I hear it? All right. I hope that's a good key for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I want the people to know that he saved my soul, but I still like to listen to the radio. They say rock and roll is wrong, we'll give you one more chance. I say I feel so good, I'm gonna get up and dance. I know what's right, I know what's wrong. I'm confused. All I'm really trying to say, why should the devil have all the good music? I've been feeling, I feel up, yeah, yeah. Jesus with the rock, you roll my blues away. cut my hair, you're driving me insane. I grew it out long to make room for my brain. Sometimes people don't understand. They say, what's a good boy doing in a rock and roll band? There's nothing wrong with playing blues, Slim. If you got a scripture so much to my face, why should the devil have all the good music? There's nothing wrong with what I play. Ah! Jesus is the rock, he rolled my blues away. All right! I'm not knocking the hills. Just give me a song that has a beat. I'm not knocking the hills. Just give me something that moves my feet. I don't like some of those funeral marches. I ain't dead yet. Whoa! So true, Jesus so way. There's one more thing I'd like to say. They never do cross and they laid him in the ground, but they should have known you can't keep a good man down. I think that every day I want to lose it. All I'm really trying to say, why should the devil have all the good music? I love the Lord, I love you. Jesus said the rock, he rolled my blues away. That's right, he rolled my blues away. God bless you. God bless you. 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 You're sipping whiskey from a paper cup. You drown your sorrows till you can't stand up. Take a look at what you've done to yourself. Why don't you put the bottle back on the shelf? Yellow fingers from the cigarettes. Your hands are shaking while your body sweats. Why don't you look into Jesus? He's got the answer. You got gonorrhea on Valentine's Day. You're still looking for the perfect lay. You think rock and roll will set you free? You'd be dead before you're 33. You're shooting junk until you're half insane. A broken needle in your purple vein. Why don't you look into Jesus? He's got the answer. You sleep all night, work all day, take your money, throw it all away. You say you're gonna be a superstar, but you never hung around enough to find out who you really are. I think back to when you were a child. Your soul was free, your heart ran wild. Each day was different and life was a thrill. You knew tomorrow would be better still. But things have changed, you're much older now. If you're unhappy and you don't know how, why don't you look into Jesus? He's got the answer. Yes, he does. Why don't you look into the answer.
Life was filled with guns and war, and everyone got trampled on the floor. I wish we'd all been ready. Children died, the days grew cold. A piece of bread could buy a bag of gold. I wish we'd all been ready. There's no time to change your mind. The sun has come and you've been left behind. A man and wife asleep in bed. She hears a noise and turns her head. He's gone. I wish we'd all been ready. Two men walking up a hill. One disappears and one's left standing still. I wish we'd all been ready. There's no time to change your mind. The sun has come and you've been left behind. Life was filled with guns and war, and everyone got trampled on the floor. I wish we'd all been ready. Children died, the days grew cold. A piece of bread could buy a bag of gold. I wish we'd all been ready. There's no time to change your mind. How could you have been so blind? The Father spoke, the demons died. The sun has come and you've been left behind. You've been left behind.